We're with Damien English in the Flexibus celebration day. Damien, you must be very proud as a Meath man.
Oh yeah, as a local TD, as a Meath man, it's great to see this service. It's funny, when I first started politics in 2002, Flexibus was just starting up. That time as Meath Flexibus, and I've watched it grow over the years. I've been involved a couple of times with Miriam in the very early years, trying to get new routes developed. But what they've done here, what the team have done with this service is unbelievable. Because to go from one bus to 25 buses at this stage, 24 buses, nearly 100,000 passengers by 2011. I mean, it's amazing what they've achieved. But it's the opportunity they're giving to people. I meet people from all over this county who say that Meath Flexibus have given them their life back, because they've got out to meet their friends, their people. They can do their bit of shopping, they can get to the local town. Without that, they'd be stuck at home. And I think it's a brilliant service, and I think we're just so lucky to have Flexibus based here in Navan in County Meath. And I think Louth and Fingal, they don't know how lucky they're going to get that they're going to have Miriam and her team directing their services as well and coordinating it.
Yeah, well, there was some talk at different meetings what impact it's going to make on Louth and Fingal. It means that the lessons that have been learned here, Louth was one of the latter ones to come in on the rural transport, so the resources and the experience that Flexibus are now bringing that to Louth, so it's obviously going to really enhance the service that Louth can deliver now on rural transport.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I mean, it's by no mistake that Flexibus was picked to run the show for and direct services with Louth and Fingal, because Meath has been one of the best there's been in the country. Out of the 35 or 36 that there was, Meath Flexibus, now Flexibus, were up there the best of them. What they've done here in terms of managing resources and be able to provide the service with so little money, by tapping into all the very different people, the volunteers on the board, and even from a training aspect and jobs opportunity, the amount of people that have had a chance to come through here and get a job and be retrained, and be trained to the highest level and the highest standard as well, be it in safety and in good practice as well. That's all worthwhile, adds to the service. And I think the people in this room vote with their feet. They're using the service. And I think Louth and Fingal will benefit from that, will benefit from the expertise that's been developed here and running the service over the last 12, 13 years, because there's an amazing job being done here. There's no doubt about that. And I spoke earlier on about the importance of social enterprise. I mean, the mission here is it's a social enterprise. It's not for profit. The money's put back in. A lot of people give their time voluntarily as well, but that all makes sure that we get a good service, and that the mission here of including people of all abilities and this service is very accessible. The board of directors took a decision here back in 2002 to make all these buses accessible, and that was key as well, because that meant that a lot more could use the service, and it gave the opportunity to so many more to be able to come in to take part in life in Meath.
Yeah, ministers in the cabinet at the moment are under a lot of pressure with fiscal constraints and everything. But this must be an open door in the sense in that you're in a constituency that has one of the most successful transports. So you campaigning for it must be that just a little bit easier than others might have.
Yeah, it's been certainly a help when we were trying to discuss this with Leo Varadkar, the previous Minister for Transport, and now Pascal Donoghue over the years. Being able to, they even knew before I said it that Meath was recognised as one of the best. That was a major help, because rural transport is a big issue, and it's also a costly issue around the country. And you do want to try and have best practice, use best practice. So they've seen this county's best practice; it's been copied. We're going to try to increase the services provided through rural transport, and there's a lot of areas in some counties that still aren't covered. And I do believe that there's an opportunity here to use the rural transport network like this one here to actually service the national routes as well, and to act as a feeder service. And I'm hoping we're developing that. Part of my brief now as a minister is actually school transport, and I believe that we need to look at a full transport solution in a rural area. There's no point in having school transport buses doing one route, and an hour later you have another bus coming down, be it through Flexibus or through somebody else. I believe in the very near future we have to develop a full solution to serve all the transport needs of a rural area, and I think Flexibus is a great example of how to do that. But I've said it before, to see school buses lying idle during the day is a complete and utter waste, in my opinion. And when we have networks like this set up through rural transport, they're the ones that should be using, and maybe over time we can develop a system that we can, that will we'll be able to give a better service, but also the taxpayer will gain as well.
So you would see from the advancement within Fingal, Louth and Meath, integration with other services within those counties will further enhance every service in relation to transport.
Yeah, I mean the whole key is, you mentioned it a few minutes ago about the shortage of money and not having the money. I mean, we know as a country we're billions less than we used to have in taxes, so we're trying to do a lot more with less money, and the best way you're going to do that is use best practice in providing a service like Flexibus here, but actually then try to enhance that and to do more with that, and that'll only happen by the different agencies coming together, county councils, HSEs, the other transport providers as well, coming together and working on solutions together as well. And I can see it in rural transport now, in school transport that I have to do now, and there's so many opportunities there to actually develop links there that will provide money, but apart from that else, will provide a better service. Because if we make savings in one place, it means we can give a greater service in another area as well.
So the initiative that you see here today, you see that as a very valued asset in supporting you in campaigning for that.
Oh yes, I mean, to be able to cite examples here of what you see in Meath and through Flexibus, it helps you win any argument, because naturally there's competing budgets everywhere, every department's under pressure, but when you see an outfit and an organisation like Flexibus providing so well with so little money, right, and the opportunity they're giving to so many people here, right, and the access they're getting, all these people here, if they didn't have Flexibus, wouldn't be able to get to the local town, wouldn't be able to take part in life, and would then have other consequences and would suffer their health as well from isolation. So if you use that model and try to add into that as well, because we do need to have a kind of a whole solution to rural transport in time. Look, it won't happen tomorrow or the next day, but over time, it's how do you best serve a rural area, because there's still towns and villages throughout this country that don't have a rural service transport network that they need, and we have to develop that. And I think, to me, having Flexibus as an example to say, look, this is how it works best, right? Let's see how we can build on that. Let's see how we can copy that throughout the country. That's what we're trying to do as well.
Okay, so Damien, thank you very much for your support for Co.Meath and for the expanded area of Fingal and Louth. Thank you very much.
I'm delighted to be part of it, and delighted to be associated, and just be able to, over the years, to watch it grow and grow. It's been amazing, and to see that, as I said earlier on as well, it's not just about transport, it's also about fun, right? Most of the members here that travel on these buses see this as a social club, and that's the way it should be. Right, it's not just a means of getting A to B, it's actually part of life.
That's great, and thank you very much, Damien.